Hello everybody, Spire Thunder here. Today I want to talk about Minion Necromancer on the PTR. I think that this current iteration of minions is very powerful, probably the most powerful they've ever been. While this specific build that I have together on the PTR may not be the peak, I believe that minions are incredibly powerful. They're here to stay. I don't think that the minions themselves will get a nerf. Maybe some of the values on the aspects and tempering might get slightly reduced. Just know that everything here is subject to change because this is the PTR. Now, moving into Book of the Dead, we're going to start with the Skeletal Warriors. You mainly have the choice here between cooldown reduction Reapers and taunting Defenders. The Skirmishers don't deal that much damage on this setup, largely because there is no tempering affix that directly increases their damage. So you can't get like Skeletal Warrior damage here instead of Skeletal Mage damage. That just isn't a stat that you can roll at this time. While you can increase the Skeletal Warrior Mastery, it scales slower than both Golem and Mage Mastery. So at this current time, I would say stick to utility for your warriors. Utility warriors are still incredibly powerful. Defenders make pushing a high tier pit very, very manageable, as they can help take the aggro off you very easily, as well as help stagger bosses for fighting the tormented level 200 versions of the uber bosses. Reapers are phenomenal for reducing the cooldown of your Army of the Dead and your Golem primary attack, or your directed attack, I should say. You can also take the corpse generation. I don't think you need it. You generate so many corpses already when you're fighting mobs that I think the cooldown reduction is hard to pass up. Especially when you have 7 of these things giving you, what is it? It's 21 seconds of cooldown reduction every 10 seconds. That's not bad. That's pretty good. That's pretty powerful. Now we're going to move into the Skeletal Mages. I believe that at the current time, the Bone Mages, the Bone Spear casting mages specifically, are the absolute best. There is an argument for taking the Shadow Mages. Their piercing attacks are pretty good. They hit about half as hard as the main attack from the Bone Mages, and they can either increase all your damage by a bit more or fire faster. These are good upgrades. It would really be your pick. However, I absolutely love the utility that Bone Mages having the ability to cast your Bone Spear provides. Now, I'm going to quickly just show a little demonstration of how this works. Here you'll see I'm just sacrificing 2 minion types that don't increase damage anyway, just to have all Bone Mages up. So when I cast my Army of the Dead here, see that I can start to get a bunch of Bone Mages. Now, you'll notice that they are making this turning dummy here vulnerable, as well as reducing the cooldown of my Army of the Dead every once in a while. So we're going to drop 5. So you'll see little ticks where it will jump an extra second or 2. This is purely through the Bone Mages. Now, they have the ability to cast a Bone Spear instead of their regular attack. It is not they're casting the regular attack and a Bone Spear, which would be significantly better, honestly. But instead, they're casting your Bone Spear instead. You'll notice their main attacks are hitting anywhere from 700k to a 1.5 mil crit. That's really good. That damage is phenomenal, and when you compare it to the Bone Spears, they're only hitting for around like 200k, which that damage is respectable, but not near the amount of damage as if it was casting from the Bone Mages themselves. Now, Golems. Golems are all phenomenal. You really do have a choice of whatever you want. I would recommend the Iron Golem for the majority of content, as its attacks hit incredibly hard. The Blood Golem with the 30% extra damage reduction for pushing high tier pit, as this provides a huge source of damage reduction and doesn't lose that much damage compared to the Iron Golem. It can still hit incredibly hard. I have seen the manual attack of the Blood Golem hit upwards of 40 million with both Army of the Dead and Necromancer cast. It's really good. Bone Golems, I would really just stick with the Bone Spikes upgrade, as this does alright damage, and the main benefit of the Bone Golem is its cleave on its main attack and the additional taunting from its main skill. Now that we've talked about the Book of the Dead, let's talk about the skill tree. So we're picking up 2 points here. These are just early points of the Bone Splinters. Once you get more levels, then you will transition off of having a basic skill. Bone Splinters just gives you a little bit more synergy with the Bone Mages early on, and then you'll spec out of whatever initiates or acolytes you'll spec out later into your main attack, Bone Spear. This gets copied to your Skeleton Mages and will allow them, together with the splintering aspect, apply vulnerable to every single enemy hit. This makes Cold Mages completely useless, as they don't hit hard, and you don't really need the essence, and vulnerable application is done far better through the Bone Spear cast of the Bone Mages. More points increase the damage because the Bone Mages will be casting them often. You might as well increase the damage that they do. Huge Flesh gives us some good corpse generation, great to have. Corpse Explosion gives us a way to consume corpses more reliably, as well as give really good crowd control damage. You can blow up like half the screen with some tempering affixes, and every single thing hit by Corpse Explosion can then trigger Abhorrent Decrepify to give you more cooldown reduction on your Golem and on your Army of the Dead. Take 1 point in Spiked Armor just for the little bit of extra armor. I believe I'm over armor cap, which should be around 16,600 for level 200 monsters, which I think I'm at 18,000 right now. It's fine. It's just to give a little bit extra thorns, and you can put more points into this while you're leveling to help reach a higher armor cap. This will help really with transitioning from World Tier 3 to World Tier 4 and 2 to 3. Skeletal Warrior Mastery, points in it, take it. Helps increase the life and damage of them. While your warriors may not do the most damage, you might as well have this. Grim Harvest and Fueled by Death help give you some corpse generation from summoning skeletons and a little bit of an extra damage increase. Decrepify helps to reduce the damage going out, as well as apply a slow for the crowd control. It's great to have, as well as increase all your damage. The Skeletal Mage Mastery and Skeletal Golem Mastery is what you want to have on the majority of your armor piece. Every single armor piece can have it. Army of the Dead is great for resummoning your skeletons at the, let's say, start of a session or into a pit run. Let's say you died. Just getting all your skeletons back so you don't have to scale slowly, resummoning your skeletons, going through all the warrior summons, and then going through your Skeletal Mage summons. Just get them all back. Pop Army of the Dead. It's awesome. Hellbent Commander. You really want to be standing next to either your mages or really close next to your golem. The extra damage from Hellbent Commander is phenomenal. It's a direct multiplier, all their damage. Great to have. You want this on your amulet. It's awesome. Getting 30% more critical strike chance for your minions from Inspiring Leader is incredible. And 2 points into Bonding and Essence really helps to keep your Bone Mages alive while they constantly kill themselves. These points I currently have in here, I moved from Spiked Armor originally. You can feel free to move these 2 points kind of back and forth, or take a point out of Corpse Explosion, put it over into Spiked Armor, whatever. Galan's Edict, this is a direct minion damage build. We're not scaling the Bone Spear damage, although this would probably be pretty good. We just are really interested in having as much attack speed for the minions as possible. Moving into the Paragon board, I would say Corporeal on the starter board. Once you have everything maxed out, wait, why is this not started? Oh my god. I think I just did a bunch of pit runs without Golem equipped because I'm re-recording this. Good job, me. My golem in this pit run you're about to see should have like 1,000% more damage. Awesome. That could have made stuff a lot easier. Okay. So golem on the first board while you're leveling will really help, as this gives you a massive boost to your golem damage. In total, it's around around 1,000% on this current setup. Like if I look at planner, 2,500% golem damage, I move anything into that, and we lose 1,000% golem damage. Yeah. So getting this active early and just picking up a couple extra willpower nodes, like, woohoo, activate it. That's enough to absolutely skyrocket your damage early. You want to upgrade this as fast as possible. Although you can't activate it on this board before you get the radius expanded. It's still worth doing just because of how much damage that this will provide for your build once you get it online. Next up, we move into the Cult Leader board, and we'll have the Dead Razor glyph here. This will give you a massive damage reduction to your minions, make it very hard for them to die, as well as increasing your damage, or increasing their damage by a decent amount. The main thing that we're here for is the extra attack speed and the Cult Leader Paragon node, as this will give up to a 150% damage increase at the minion attack speed cap. You hit this very easily through Frenzied Dead and Kalon's Edict, as well as a couple of attack speed rolls on your gear. Next, we move over to Hulking Monstrosity, where here we will have the control glyph, actually. I experimented a little bit with Mage and Control. I do believe that ultimately the control glyph will be better because of the additional bonus of Mage not really being that good. Increase all element damage, or increase all element resistance, and 184% skeleton mage damage isn't actually that crazy. You can get around 150% just from one tempering affix. And while currently damage to close is applying twice to your minions, I think that this is still worse, because I would rather have the 150% here, and then that gets multiplied by 180% or 160% from your skeleton mages. It will increase far further, and I'm even missing, I have skeletal ranks of skeletal warrior here. That could be either mages, and I'm missing a skeletal, or I'm missing a minion passive in general on this helmet. I could have a lot more either mage damage or golem damage, but I'd probably say mage damage. And that is all without even having that flat damage increase from mage. So I'd say take control, increase both your damage and your minions' damage. It's worth it. Obviously, pick up Hulking Monstrosity. This is a direct, your golem does double damage. It's great. Then we move into Flesh Eater to get not only the legendary node, but also pick up Essence. You have a lot of critical strike chance. You might as well increase your critical strike damage a lot further and do it, and get a multiplier for critical strikes against non-healthy enemies, which is 80% of their health bar. Great to have. Last, we move into the Scent of Death board, where ultimately the golem node will reside, and we just kind of pick up all the willpower, pick up some of the stats here. It's mainly just to get to the other willpower and increase our golem damage by around 1,000% in total at the maximum level here. Now, linked below, I will have the D4 build planner as well as the max roll planner for this build. I'll update the max roll planner when max roll actually changes their modifier to the new tempering system. But we'll go ahead and look at the D4 build planner, because this has all the updated affixes. But there's the full Paragon and full skill tree linked on both of these, so just feel free to follow along when you eventually build this build. Now, Juggernauts will armor cap you. Blood Getters, they're the new Blood Getters, will give you a damage increase as well as give you a good source of healing, which is very nice to have. Frenzied Dead will help increase your minions' attack speed and attack speed cap them for Cult Leader. Hardened Bones will give a good damage reduction, which is very rare to have. This goes up to 25% currently on the PTR. Very good, just flat, you gain damage reduction. I feel like some non-minion builds will even run Hardened Bones, just because of how rare damage reduction is now. Now, Hulking. Hulking is very nice to have. Having your golem being able to reduce its own cooldown as well as spawning corpses is great to have. Your golem's main attack is so good, and having the CDR reduction on it, even if you don't have the cooldown reduction Reapers, great. Highly recommend to put the hulking aspect on, especially because there's not many other good aspects for this build. Unyielding Commander, phenomenal damage increase. It says it's an additive damage bonus in game, but it is a multiplier. This does truly double your damage whenever it is active, and your minions taking 90% reduced damage doesn't really matter because they hardly ever die, and the only ones that can die are the mages, and they die because they're killing themselves for attacking. Reanimation, this is another great damage increase just for having your minions active. Splintering gives the vulnerable application, phenomenal. Sacrilegious Soul helps to automate the build. Now you can swap this out, and I'll go over to Master Roll here, for either Mendelm, which doesn't scale that well, but is some added AoE because this does not trigger your minions damage. This triggers your damage, and your damage isn't scaled crazy high. But you can swap it off for Needle Flare while you're leveling, I would recommend. But you can swap to Inner Calm, which will be another multiplier for your minions' damage. And while you're sitting there casting Decrepify, casting Corpse Explosion, raising skeletons, telling your golem to go get in there, or just casting Bone Spears, it will give you a decent damage bonus, as well as increasing all the damage of your minions. But that's if you don't need the help from Sacrilegious Soul, which, honestly, if you can play without Sacrilegious Soul, I would recommend it, because that means you get more tempering affixes, which means more Army of the Dead cooldown, and more golem or mage damage. So I won't break down every single stat and why I chose it here. Just know that the golem mastery, skeleton mastery, as well as the respective tempering affixes are insanely important to have. And if you take another ring, just copy the stats on there. Also, D4 Planar doesn't allow you to currently do an offensive or the weapon aspect or the weapon tempering, for your focus. But just know that chance for skeletal mages to cast twice is what I have on there. That's a great affix because it basically just says, hey, chance to do raw double damage on your skeletal mages. You get like 50% on this, even if you don't crit. That's great. This also will cast your Bone Spears twice, which, it's not like the Bone Spears do a lot of damage, but it is nice to have. That means that you get double the chance of the lucky hit effects. Post-Commissary Spyro here. I would like to thank you very much for watching this video, and I will leave you with a tier 76 pit run, so monsters are level 175. That's 24 away from the cap, but it's the highest tier I had to run, and I really didn't want to push it even more just for this video, and the damage is fine. The damage is more than fine. I did this with the skeletal, I did this run with the Defender Skeletons, as well as the Blood Golem. The cooldown reduction for Army of the Dead is a little bit missed, but you'll still see it comes up fairly often. I honestly could have used them more. Then the only enemy that you really feel the difference between the Iron Golem and the Blood Golem is that final boss, but honestly, it still dies very fast. Once again, thank you, and I look forward to Season 4 coming out and doing a full breakdown of this build once again with absolutely perfect gear. Thank you, and I'll see you later.
I'm not ready yet. I need more time. I need more time. I'm not ready yet.